If you feel like buying a home today requires selling your kidney and promising your firstborn and possibly pledging the eternal allegiance to your mortgage lender, you're definitely not alone. Housing affordability has officially hit rock bottom. Interest rates are painfully high. Inventory is lower than your crypto portfolio, and renting feels about as smart as lighting money on fire. But good news, President Donald Trump just announced a new housing plan, promising to lower your costs. Today, we're diving into exactly what's proposed and the likelihood that it will actually work, and what I genuinely think could fix this mess even faster. First, let's quickly recap how we got here. Back in 2006, home builders went nuts constructing houses faster than people could say subprime mortgage. Unsurprisingly, the market crashed spectacularly. Typical crashes reset markets, but builders got cold feet and construction never really fully bounced back. Fast forward to the pandemic and mortgage rates hit historic lows, and everyone rushed to buy houses at rates lower than your odds of winning the lottery. Now, nobody wants to move because swapping your cozy 3% interest rate for today's brutal 7% feels absurd, and it's about as appealing as a dental procedure without anesthesia. So, it's not just about personal finance issue, it's a nationwide economic drag. The lock-in effect, where people stay put to keep their low rates, freezing up supply. I mean, for most people, they can't even downsize because it would cost more than just keeping their current house. So you're definitely not going to buy a bigger house. The Federal Reserve's interest rate hikes to curb inflation added fuel to the fire, making mortgages and construction loans more expensive, which only tightened the supply even further. Meanwhile, we're seeing home prices increase faster than wages, leaving many working class families completely priced out. Millennials, now well into their 30s, are finally able to buy, but starter homes of the past have either disappeared or been replaced by luxury condos that come with giant HOA fees and a bunch of other nonsense politics people just don't want to deal with. The American dream hasn't died, it's just hiding behind a $750,000 price tag with 8% financing. So what's Trump's big plan to fix this? It involves three key strategies. First, slashing red tape. Believe it or not, building codes and government regulations add roughly 24% of the cost of single-family homes and an astonishing 40% or more to multifamily units. Essentially, every time you enjoy your energy-efficient dishwasher, just know you paid handsomely for the privilege. Energy efficiency is great. No one's advocating to return to living by candlelight, but Trump's plan argues that dialing back some regulations could significantly lower home prices. The catch? Trump's love affair with tariffs, particularly lumber tariffs with Canada, could ironically spike building costs. Saving money on dishwashers, but paying extra for Canadian timber is peak irony, but here we are. Second point, revising stringent building codes. Currently, federal energy efficiency standards for appliances, insulation, and heating can tack on tens of thousands of dollars onto the price of new homes. Sure, these upgrades sound wonderful, saving polar bears and reducing energy bills, but they price many potential homeowners out of the market entirely. Trump's proposal involves relaxing some of these requirements to help lower the upfront housing costs. Your stance on this likely depends on whether or not you prefer lower electric bills or helping polar bears avoid beachfront property in Alaska, but critics argue that this could just shift the cost from upfront to your monthly utility bills. But if someone can't afford to buy a house in the first place, the long-term savings don't really help at all. Affordability now matters more than theoretical savings 20 years from now, especially if you're living in your car while waiting for those savings to kick in. Third, opening federal land to new housing developments, even affordable housing developments. Fun fact, the federal government owns around 28% of the land in the United States. The Trump administration proposes leasing some of this land to developers to build affordable homes on. On paper, this sounds fantastic until you realize how much of this land is so remote that even Bigfoot wouldn't set up camp there, but most of these areas lack basic infrastructure, like roads, electricity, or Wi-Fi? You could use Starlink, I guess, but the Wall Street Journal pointed out that 7% of federal land overlaps with existing urban areas, but realistically, the immediate impact would likely be smaller than your recent tax refund. There's also the issue of who would build on that land? Developers aren't racing to construct affordable homes unless there's a clear profit motive. Without subsidies or major tax breaks, most builders are going to stick with high-end projects where the margins are fatter than your uncle's Thanksgiving plate. So unless the plan includes incentives, this could end up as yet another government idea that sounds great in a press release but dies in the fine print. And there's another elephant in the room in the housing market, a big black-suited one named BlackRock. Over the past several years, investment firms have been buying up residential housing like it's the new GameStop stock or whatever poo coin is out there. And while they claim it's all about offering rental options and diversifying portfolios, the end result is fewer homes available for regular mom and pops, regular families. When a Wall Street firm buys a single family home in cash, adding 10% over asking price, how exactly is a first-time home buyer supposed to compete? With good vibes and a handwritten letter and waiving contingencies? BlackRock isn't the only player. There are plenty of institutional investors doing the same thing. In some metro areas, investors' activity has accounted for over 20% of all home purchases in the last few years. And that's not some conspiracy theory, that's just data. Now, are these firms single-handedly responsible for the housing crisis? No, definitely not. But are they making it worse? Most likely. Many of these homes kind of just disappear from the for sale market. They become permanent rentals managed by companies with no local connections at all. Repairs take weeks. Rents keep rising every year. And if you think your landlord is bad now, wait until it's a publicly traded LLC with quarterly earnings reports to hit. Some lawmakers have floated policies to limit how many single-family homes large investors can buy or even tax them more aggressively. But surprisingly, those bills often just kind of stall out and fizzle away. Wonder why? Maybe it's the millions in lobbying money that just so happens to flow through DC. Anyway, can Trump's plan help? Possibly, but it'll take some time to find out. Major home builders plan these projects years ahead, meaning even immediate policy changes would take at least 2 to 3 years to affect the market. Hell, it can take a year or two just to get all the land figured out. Plus, home prices have skyrocketed by about 50% in just 5 years. Even if Trump's policy reduced costs by 20%, homes are still far from what most consider affordable. One idea is to let homeowners keep their low interest rate mortgages and take that low interest rate to the next house, but someone's got to pay for that spread, and it's certainly not going to be the lender, so that's probably government subsidies, which I don't know if that's necessarily going to help anything. Another idea is to increase the capital gains exemption from $500,000 to $1 million for married couples, incentivizing homeowners to sell and upgrade. Another critical idea is streamlining the notoriously slow permitting process. Waiting months for bureaucrats to approve building permits, especially in states like California, it does nothing but inflate the costs and cause a bunch of frustration. Quicker approvals would mean quicker homes on the market, plain and simple. Some cities have even experimented with AI tools to fast-track permit approvals. If AI can write your term paper, it can probably rubber stamp a zoning form and make sure you fill all the little sections out. And let's not forget labor. Home construction relies heavily on immigrant labor, and tightening immigration policies inevitably raise construction costs. So if we want homes built fast and cheap, we kind of need workers who are willing to do it for a low wage. So maybe you can toss some visas at some workers. It's not rocket science, but somehow it becomes political theater every election cycle. To genuinely unfreeze the housing market, we need practical, quick-hitting solutions. Trump's housing ideas aren't crazy, but they're long-term fixes that won't immediately address the current affordability crisis. If you're tired of throwing your rent money into a black hole and you want your kids to have a chance at leaving your basement someday before they're maybe 40, then we need action now. We need to start now. Of course, there's always a sarcastic alternative, another round of stimulus checks, because nothing says affordable housing quite like printing even more money. It fixes all of our problems. But seriously, we should prioritize realistic solutions that could be implemented today and have immediate effects. Anyway, let me know down in the comments below what you think will fix our housing problems. Let me know all of your ideas. And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe because it's free, unlike a house, and it would mean a lot to me. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.